the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.
G'day, viewers and listeners. As you may have seen at the end of the last episode, of course, if these get published out of order, it won't make any sense, but you may have seen that Michael came on where we were talking to Gary Rainford, and so we had a little bit of a chat about coffee shops and stuff. But guys, this is another great episode of Nashville 2. Maybe you know somebody that should be a guest on Nashville 2, doing something cool in the Middle Tennessee communities around Nashville. We would love to have them on the show as a guest. So have them register at nashville2.com. For those of you listening, I'm pointing up at my logo. For those of you watching it, you can see exactly what I'm doing. So my special guest today is Michael Clark. Now, something you need to know about the name Michael Clark. The first time I saw that on our roster, because we met through BNI, which is Business Networking International. He's another BNIer. And I'm like, Michael Clark, what a famous name. And it's an Australian cricket player that was also captain of the Australian cricket team. But he's got more hair. Michael Clark had more hair than both myself and Michael Clark combined. So
and
Michael,
probably money too.
Oh, he's got a lot more money, I can tell you that. But he doesn't have our personality.
No.
So, Michael, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm excited because I think your message is very important for people that have owned a business, own a business, or are thinking about starting a business, or have maybe just started a business. Wow, anybody with a business, like, they need to know what you do and who you are. Michael, tell us about who you are, where you're from originally, because you didn't grow up in Middle Tennessee, right?
No, I did not. I'm actually originally from the Houston area, so down in Houston, Texas.
Howdy.
So yeah, my family comes from the southwest side, in what used to be a really small town called Sugar Land.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, not so small anymore.
No, it's enormous now, but it's one of those towns that got its name from the industry that was around, because it used to be sugarcane fields, and there was a big sugar refinery, which is actually still there and is now the town museum.
Wow! But
it was like everybody was there working the sugarcane fields, so they just named the town Sugarland.
Yeah, you think people think Nashville has a traffic problem? You go to Houston. I would drive down from Wichita, Kansas, down to Dallas, and then I had friends in Houston. I'd drive down to Houston, and I'd get to the Woodlands, and I'm like, I'm almost there. No, got another hour before I.
No, you're not.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so when did you move to Middle Tennessee?
A year and a half ago, but I didn't move from Houston. I moved from Denver.
Oh yeah, because that makes sense.
Yeah. So in my life, so I was born in Houston. Then growing up, we moved to New Orleans. Then we moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I swapped the sides of Texas.
Yep.
Then back to Houston. Then I went to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Back to Houston. Then to Denver. And now here to Tennessee.
You know that song, I've Been Everywhere, Man?
Yeah.
Familiar with that? There you go. That's it. So you've ended up in Middle Tennessee, and we've used a few of your minutes with the other podcast. So
yep.
Let's dig into it. What is J Galt, and what can you help business owners with today with J Galt?
So at J Galt, what we do is we help you cash flow your business like Wall Street does.
You give us money?
Not necessarily. We help you get access to money. But what we're going to do is we're going to help you get all the access to all of the capital and credit that your business would ever need, but without any personal guarantees. And we do that by helping you build up the credit profile that's associated with your EIN number, that's attached to either your LLC or your S Corp or your C Corp. It doesn't really matter. And what we find is there are so many business owners out there. I mean, talking people who've been in business, 10 plus years, that have no idea that their EIN number has a credit profile like you and I have a FICO score on our Social Security number.
Right. Yeah, and exactly. And I started my first business in '83, and I was 15, and they talked a lot about, in Australia it was Dun and Bradstreet. You're Dun and Bradstreet ranking, right? You're Dun and
Hmm.
Bradstreet rating, and I don't know if that's applicable here in the US, but
It is.
yeah. So the Dun and Bradstreet getting a business growing a business credit score, not just a personal credit score. And I think most people don't even know that this is something that they can do. So, how does a person check what their credit score is for their business, and how do they get with you to improve it?
So get in touch with me, because what we can do is we can pull anyone's business credit report. Unlike like Ed, I would have to actually get your permission to pull your personal credit report,
Right.
because that's private information. But a business credit report is a matter of public record. So I can pull anybody's business credit report. Here's the rub: is if your EIN number has never been registered with the credit bureaus, you might not even actually have a business credit report.
Right.
And I've run across that where folks have said, "Hey, can you pull my business credit report?" And I'm like, "Sure, absolutely." You send in the information, and we get nothing. That happened this week,
Right.
where I sent a request and they said nothing's there because
So,
nothing's ever been registered.
so what's a quick 3 tips for business owners if they are not familiar with that? What should they be doing to build their business credit?
That's a good question. First of all, in the very minimum, make sure that their EIN number is actually registered with the 3 credit bureaus. So that's Dun and Bradstreet, Experian Business, and Equifax Business. And Equifax Business and Experian Business, that's separate from Experian and Equifax that does the FICO score.
Right. And so,
And second,
yeah, go on.
and I would say secondly, is they should see if their bank actually reports to the credit bureaus. And that's just a simple phone call. And spoiler alert, chances are that answer is going to be a no.
So does it make sense to find a bank that does report to the credit? I guess if you got money in the bank, that would help.
It would help, but here's the problem that a lot of people are facing, is the fact that you could be a model business owner and not be establishing business credit, because less than 7% of vendors and lenders actually will report.
Wow.
So you could have had a relationship with a bank for 10 plus years, but if they don't fall into that category of doing any kind of reporting, then you've got nothing. The other issue that people have is, unlike our FICO scores, business credit actually has 4 different tiers. Tier 1 is the lowest, then you move up to tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4. And certain vendors or lenders will only operate in certain tiers. So you might have a relationship with a bank that only reports once you're in tier 3. And if you're in tier 1, they're not going to do anything.
So people really, if they are interested in building business credit, and I would think that the benefit of business credit is, if you're a house flipper or a remodeler or something, having that business credit that you can go out and borrow money on that investment property or for that next investment property or for what you're doing doesn't affect your personal credit. That would be the biggest benefit for you, would it not?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about, it really comes down to a couple of different things. As far as business credit goes, there's no downside. There's absolutely zero downside to building business credit. Secondly, you can get access to way higher amounts of credit and capital on your EIN number than you can ever get on your FICO score. Right. And secondly, it's on the business. It's not on you. You're not having to personally guarantee. You're not having to worry about, oh my gosh, if this doesn't go through, if this doesn't turn out right, I've just put the house on the line, or I've, whatever other assets you have. So, it really comes down to, how much longer do you just want to keep doing it the old way and risking everything that you've built, on your business? Because let's face it, The whole reason you got an LLC or an S corp or a C corp was to separate you and your business.
And then they're always asking for a personal guarantee from your personal
exactly.
credit. Yeah,
exactly.
So, what do you have any stories for us on some of the benefits that you've seen, or some of the things that have happened because a company has business credit?
So yeah, so I do actually. So there was a company that that we as a company worked with a few years ago. It was a trucking company, smaller, not necessarily a nationwide company. It was a woman-owned business. She was spending $20,000 a month on fuel. When we pulled her business credit report, it came back that because of her business credit score, she was only approved for $1,000 in business credit.
Wow.
Well, that's nothing.
Right.
And if you're spending 20, just on fuel, forget about insurance and payroll and, everything else, $1,000 does nothing. By following the J Galt method of building business credit, at the end of a year, she had gone from $1,000 in business credit to over $724,000 in business credit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if she's got to buy new trucks or do anything like that, she's in a really good position that she could have never have done with her personal finances, with her personal credit score.
Well, and if you think about it, building up business credit gives you basically the flexibility to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking to grow and scale your business, it's there for you. If you need to buy land, great, you can do that with an EIN number. But it's also there, it can also be there for in case of an emergency. How many people saw a worldwide pandemic happening in 2020?
Right. Yeah. No.
So not only could it, nobody did. And so business credit can also be there to weather the storm.
Only the ones that created the pandemic. They
Yeah. We can get into conspiracy.
This is not a conspiracy theory podcast, so yeah, let's just leave it there.
No, you know what though, Ed, is I did see a meme yesterday that was a chalkboard, and on one side of the chalkboard it had experts and nothing underneath, and on the other side of the chalkboard it had conspiracy theorists, and it had all different kinds of marks there.
Well, hey, didn't we just find out from the government that they've known about aliens for years and years and years? So, sometimes just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you, I think is the way that line goes.
Exactly.
Anyway.
And there's all the conspiracy theorists, with the vaccine and everything like that. And I'm like, look, I grew up in the 90s. I saw the X-Files. I know how this turns out.
Right. My favorite dad joke around that is, I can count on one hand how many times I've been to Chernobyl. 14. Right?
Right.
So,
there you go.
Exactly.
As a business owner, it can be tiring paying cash for everything you need. Well, there's a better way. Introducing Trade Bank of Nashville. Our bartering service lets you exchange goods and services without the need for cash transactions. Trade Bank helps businesses like yours reduce expenses, bring in new business, and keep your cash where you need it most. Find out more and join our barter network today. Start getting what you need without paying cash, because sometimes barter is just smarter. Apply today at nashville.tradebank.com.
So, okay, Michael, that's a lot of great information. People that own businesses should be reaching out to you, and all of Michael's information will be available in the podcast show notes on whatever platform you're watching this in. And if it's on YouTube, it'll be in the YouTube description. Michael, what do you do when you're not working? What do you do for fun? I know you've got some interesting hobbies.
I do. For one, I play the bagpipes.
Boy, does he play the bagpipes. And it doesn't sound like squeezing a cat. It actually sounds like music. I was very impressed. It was very loud, though.
In fairness, we were in a very enclosed office.
Room. Yes.
Yeah, and I want to say, I can't remember exactly. It was either the late 50s, maybe the early 60s, where the British Army finally declassified bagpipes as a weapon.
Oh, really?
and as a musical instrument.
There you go. There you go. Well, maybe they could write them off or something. I don't know. Who knows why they would do that.
Who knows?
Okay.
Who knows?
So when you're not working and you're not playing the bagpipes, what are some of your hidden gems around Middle Tennessee?
We're still exploring Middle Tennessee, having only been here for a year and a half. I am a huge fan of the Fainting Goat coffee shop in Spring Hill.
Yep.
That place, it's so great because the building is, it's like that, it's an old Southern style house, but then you walk in, and then you've got, they've got so many different
All the
paintings.
little rooms. Yep.
No, the paintings of Goat, and so you've got, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust as a goat,
right?
Hanging on the wall. They've got one that looks like Mr. Spock from Star Trek. So it's just an absolutely wonderful place to hang out. And your previous guest stole my other one, 1819. That place is great
too. Yeah. Okay, so
yep.
2 coffee shops. So what's your
and
third
then
gym?
The town square in Columbia.
Oh, okay, interesting. You're the first person to say that.
I absolutely love the main town square in Columbia. When we moved here in March of last year, and my sister-in-law and brother-in-law drove their RV here, and they stayed out at the state park that's out there, and we said, okay, hey, meet us in the town square. We'll go to Puckett's. We'll have a nice meal. They have live music. It'll be great. Well, when we were there waiting for our table, there was this crowd of people in front of the courthouse. It's in the middle of the town square. And we're like, what the heck is going on? And then the fire department showed up. And then, of course, we were really like, what the heck is going on? And while we were waiting for our table, the fire department was replacing the huge American flag that hangs on the outside of the front of the courthouse. And, and just how cool was that? Here it is, it's sundown, it's a absolutely beautiful evening. And here we get to, essentially watch, this ceremony. And it was just a fabulous experience. There's great shots.
Was this a one-time replacement, or is this something they do on a regular basis?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I would imagine it would have to be done on a fairly regular basis, because it's not like they roll the flag up at night or anything like that. It hangs 24/7, and just like any kind of a flag, if you leave it out in the sun, it's going to fade. So, yeah. What's the schedule as far as how often it gets replaced? I don't know. All I know is, we were lucky to be there the night that they did it.
Awesome. So anything else that you want to share with us? We've got your hidden gems. We've got a little bit about J Galt. We've got a little bit about bagpipes. Do you have a CD? Do you have a CD, Michael, people can buy with your music?
I do not. I'm
there
not.
We go. That's the next thing.
I'm not that good, man. I would say I'm a pretty fair player, but I'm not good enough to have a CD. I can recommend some CDs if you really want to if you really want to listen to some bagpipe music. I can recommend some very good CDs for you.
Well, folks, if you want to listen to bagpipe music, Michael's contact information will be in the chat, and he can put you onto those people that he feels are worth listening to. Anything else you want to share with us, Michael? We've got a couple of minutes left.
I as far as what we do with J Galt.
Yep.
I love just sitting down and talking to people about their business and getting to know them. So give me a call, send me an email. I would love to just sit down and learn about your business and see what we can do.
And when Michael says that, that's exactly what he means. He doesn't mean that you're going to get a pushy sales pitch about doing what. That's not Michael. Michael loves building relationships, learning about people, and I could highly recommend you sitting down with Michael and finding out more about what J Galt does. Can't recommend him highly enough. We hang out together each Wednesday at our Business Networking International chapter down in Franklin at the Elks Lodge. come join us Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. You can go ahead.
I was going to ask you, to tie in from the last, what was your favorite board game growing up?
Ooh,
because I love board games,
right?
And I played them a ton growing up.
So for me, we played a lot of Risk, a lot of Cluedo. Do you call it Clue over here?
Yeah,
Clue. Yeah, so Cluedo in Australia. I don't know why. Clue, and then there was a great British game called Scotland Yard. Is it Scotland Yard? Yeah, Scotland Yard, and you chase this bad guy around the London transit system using undergrounds and buses. And in fact, I found an old copy on eBay and I bought it, so I've got it here. Maybe you and I could play that sometime.
That'd be fun.
So Risk and Monopoly. I always loved Monopoly because once I learned how to win at Monopoly, it's a no-brainer for me. So I love playing Monopoly, but nobody will play me in Monopoly anymore. So because I lock down the board and I win, So how about yourself?
Definitely Risk. My best friend growing up was he had 8 brothers and sisters. And, if I had to make a list of all of my, all of the greatest accomplishments in life, not only my best friend, but all of his brothers and sisters were big gamers. And the fact that at his house, I won 1 game of Risk.
That's hard with like 7 or other, with a bunch of players and them forming alliances and stuff and blocking off areas.
Yeah.
The other game. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, the other game was Axis and Allies.
Oh, I never played it. I saw it a lot, but I never played it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I got older, there was a board game called Talisman.
Heard of it, never played it. Yeah.
Yeah, I still have all of those games, and
my kids are into Secret Hitler, Settlers of Catan, and a few other different board games like that. But the game I really enjoyed was as I became an adult in the early 90s, or I was an adult a lot already, but started playing Magic the Gathering, which is the trading card game. Yep. Love Magic. Sue's a couple of minutes early. She'll be back. So yeah, I definitely am a big gamer. And then with the computers, for me it was Command and Conquer, StarCraft, Age of Empires 2. I would challenge anybody to Age of Empires 2. We used to have a setup in our old house where we had 3 computers built into the closets for the kids, took the doors off, put shelves in. They each had their computer, and then I had my computer. And the 2 boys and I would play Age of Empires 2 or Battle for Middle-earth 2. And we had the best time. And it was fun. I never let them win, but I'm also a big fan of Stratego as well. When Alice and I first got married, we would sit around playing Stratego. She would beat my butt. She's a very clever gamer. She always never considered herself a gamer. She learned how to play Magic the Gathering, beat me, and then never played again.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. So, she had that claim to fame.
Mike, drop him out of here.
That's right. Hey, Michael, it's great having had you on the show. Definitely recommend people reach out to you, and we'll have all your contact information in the chat.
Perfect. That'd be great. Ed, thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
No worries. Have a good day.
You too.
This is the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.